All right, Ultimate Hoops Nation. It's Izzy Alcafas. I'm here with guest predictor Jason Briggs. Jason Briggs, we're going to predict the Fridley games for May 9th.
Okay.
First game is Huskies-Callahan at 6:30. Give me the keys to that game for both teams.
It'll really come down to battle of the big men, in my opinion. Callahan has a great big guy in Kevin Chase. Really defensive-minded, great rebounder, great shot blocker. He's been a little under the weather. I know he was sick last week against the Gorillas, and really struggling on the offensive end. On the other side, you got Todd Fredrickson with the Huskies. Not as great a defender, but a very solid low-post game. So if these two match up, I would predict the winner of that matchup be the winner of the game.
I tend to agree with you. I think Josh Hoyle will be very important for the Huskies. We got to see if the Callahan's a little bit older, so I don't know how many of them can actually chase him around for 44 minutes. So if Hoyle can be efficient on offense, I think that the Huskies have a very good shot of winning. I'm going to say the Huskies win by 9 points. What do you say?
I'm going to say the Huskies by 2. Finally get off the schneid, and Hoyle will have a big game.
Perfect. All right. We got them and Kool-Aid Kids also at 6:30. Talk about that game.
Not a fan of either team, to be perfectly honest with you. Just the way they play. It's a lot of slop. Them were really not very clutch last week. They had an opportunity to win that game and kind of blew it at the end. But they have a lot more talent. Kool-Aid Kids, other than Trey Wells, they got a few nice young pieces. No size in the game at all. But I would say the experience in them, and if Devin Stensrud gets hot, he might be the difference.
Right, I agree. And you know, Kool-Aid Kids are smaller, but I think Jordan Jensen is sneaky long, and if he can post up and if he can commit himself to staying down low, I don't think anybody on Kool-Aid Kids can actually stay in front of him or be able to defend him in the post. So I think he'll be the key in that game, and I actually think them just have too much explosion on the offensive end. I think Devin can catch fire. Jordy's a very good mid-range shooter. Even Quentin Brown can drive and create for himself. And like you said, Trey Wells is their guy, but he's not aggressive enough, and he needs to be more aggressive. So I think them win, and I think they win by 15 points. What do you say?
I'm going to go them by 8. I think it's going to be close. There's just that self-destruct factor with them. But again, it will. You're very right on Jordan. Jordan is the king of 17-foot jump shots. So if he gets his butt in the post, I think them could win by a lot more. But I think he'll drift a little bit too much, and they'll only win by 8.
Okay. All right, good call there. The next game is going to be, looks like it's Killer Bees and Stickball. Actually, you know what? It's actually the Club and 7. What do you think of that game?
It should be very fast-paced. I know the Club is not as fast as they used to be.
Right.
They're better decision-making. I've been really unimpressed since week 1. They came out and played a zone, and North Star shot themselves in the foot. And the Club just had a great game plan that game, and they executed. They finished down the stretch. And since then, they have looked miserable. They have 9 guys in their team one week. It's Iron 5 the next. It's a really odd squad. As far as 7's concerned, I've got the pleasure of watching them twice. They seem like a bunch of jerks that I would never want to hang out with outside of UH. But they're very good. Okay. Saba is a really sweet player, and I mean some of those kids. Brahma. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, obviously, but he's also a very good player. It should be a good game. I would lean the young guys right now.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. And what I think of that game, I think of youth versus the experience of Ultimate Hoops. I think a lot of the guys, you know, Steven Ellis has been playing for ages. You know, Adam Kidd's been playing in Fridley for a while. And, you know, I like Ned as a man's body because we still have to remember that 7 are still kids. I mean, they're still 21, 20 years old. They haven't developed like men. So Ned needs to be a man down there and grab as many boards as he can. I think that Jordan, for the Club, if they can get him in that mid-range area off of screens and he can take those jump shots, he's got great elevation on the jump shot, and I don't think 7 is going to chase him around for the entire game. I like the Club in this game just based on the experience factor. I'm going to say the Club very close, and I think they make the difference down the stretch because 7 looked a little shaky down the stretch in that last game. So I'm going to say them by 1.
And I would take 7 by 5. I just don't like what the club's been bringing the last 2 weeks. And any team with 9 guys, I'm not going to pick.
I don't disagree with you. That is tough. 9 guys is a bit too much. The next game that we have on the docket is going to be stickball and pigeons at 8:30. Talk about that game.
This is a game of who shows up. There's an excellent pigeons team out there. I just haven't seen them in a while. Week 1, they were there until they blew it in the end to Noisy. Last week, they played us, and they from the opening tip, they weren't there. Right. Even without Maher, it was not a fun game because it just didn't seem like they were trying. And this is coming from a guy on a sprained ankle. Stickball is in that hunt for their first win. They're not a great team. But they, with Austin and Fala and I believe it's Jeremiah Johnson, they've got a few pieces that could potentially make this a good game. But if the Pigeons show up, it could be a blowout. If the Pigeons don't, I would actually predict a stickball victory. So
right, and I agree. The Pigeons, who knows? I mean, I don't know what they're going to bring each week. It's something different. They look really good, like I said in my power rankings. They look great for the first 40 minutes of the season, and it's been a shit show ever since. Yeah. I think that the Pigeons, the key for stickball is to run. The Pigeons are surprisingly lazy for guys that are relatively young. So if stickball can get out in transition, get some easy buckets, they'll keep themselves into the game. Here's the issue. Teams tend to try a little bit harder down the stretch, so I can see the Pigeons actually being affected by the speed of stickball and then eventually tighten things up. So I think that having Tasso, having Schonauer there, being able to score, even Yelke can score in those big game situations, I think the Pigeons have enough to win this game, and I think they win by 6. What do you say?
I'm going to go stickball by 2 with Casey Schonauer missing the game-winning 3 at the buzzer.
I like it. I like it. Casey, how do you feel about that, buddy? We got Noisy Withdrawal and Woodbury. Talk about that one.
This is big-time contrasting styles. I would give Curran the point guard matchup. I would give Noisy the benefit of the doubt in pretty much every other category. I just don't think Woodbury knows how to use their roster quite yet. They've also had some attendance issues as well. Noisy, they're on the verge of becoming a really good team. They still have some pretty poor shot selection, and they don't utilize Springer enough. And Meade, who's like a mini Ray Allen, also is not getting the looks that I would expect him to get. Yeah. But, I mean, it has the potential to be either a fairly tight game or a complete Noisy blowout.
Okay. I tend to agree with you there. And I think the key for Woodbury is going to be Michael Franklin, because the guy is a freak athlete, and if he can commit himself to getting those defensive rebounds and making sure Hamill doesn't cause a lot of havoc down low, that'll be important. I don't think he'll guard Springer. I think they'll put somebody else on Springer, but the Hamill-Franklin matchup will be one to watch. You know, I happen to think, you know, if Meade is running the point instead of Brian Jacobson, I like Meade a little bit more than I like Paris at this point, just because Paris is a little bit older. He's starting to slow down. If Paris decides to go into the post, and this is what I'm intrigued by, I think Paris Curran is a very good post player. He reminds me of Andre Miller. If Paris can take it down low, slow the game down, keep it at Woodbury's pace, that would be really beneficial. I just don't think they have the discipline. So I think Noisy do win this game, and I think that Noisy win by 8.
And one big thing with Curran is his play is so dictated by the refs. Right. So if he's getting that call, he'll be an absolute monster in the post. But if he is going down there and he's getting hacked like he was a couple weeks ago and he's not getting called, he might check out a little bit. Yep. So I'm going to predict that. Actually, I'm going to predict that Hawkins is a pretty good game because I see him kind of as the forgotten man. Noisy's going to stop other people, but I still think Noisy's going to take it by 10.
Okay. Great. Fob 5 Killer Bees. Talk about that one.
Is Mike Byrne going to be here?
No, he's not going to be here.
Okay, then I would predict a much closer game than necessary. Yep. As you've written, and I tend to agree 100%, you guys are pretty average without your full squad, as evidenced by last week's Bulls fiasco and the week before against Who Better when DuPont was missing. Right. So, again, it'll be a rough game. I like the fact that DuPont's there, and the Killer Bees are small. They take a lot of bad shots. So you'll definitely have the advantage. And with the addition of Thompson, and if Smo doesn't walk off, you'll have the size. but I think it'll be a pretty close game just due to your roster.
Right. And I agree, and I think Smo will stick around this week because Marcus won't be playing for the Killer Bees, and I won't be talking to Marcus, so that's a plus. You know, for the Fob 5, like you said, Anthony Thompson, he's the key because Killer Bees are still small. So if he can commit himself down low, get those offensive rebounds, I can see him getting 10 offensive rebounds in this game. Most of them are probably going to be his own missed layups, but you know, he's tough to guard down there because he moves well once the shot goes up. So I think the Fob 5 with DuPont harassing the Killer Bees ball handler and Anthony Thompson cleaning up those shots, I think Fob 5 win, and I think they win by about 14 points.
If you guys feed Thompson, he's really working on that post game, as evidenced tonight. It's tough to stop. That ball is way up there. So if you feed the big guy early and give him a reason to bust his butt for you, I predict a 25-point Fob 5 victory.
Okay, yep. You can definitely see that. Anthony he had some great moves tonight, by the way. North Stars, who better at 9:30? What do you say?
Maher gone once again. Hope you're enjoying Turks and Caicos, buddy. Because I don't like playing so much.
Yeah, congratulations to the 17-time MVP Chris Maher for getting married last weekend.
Thanks for the invite, by the way. Just kidding. You had a great 4-slice toaster. That's all I'm saying. It should be an exciting game. Anytime Maher's gone, it adds a little bit of mystery to it. He is a one-man wrecking crew, and if an offense stalls, Chris, please take over.
Right.
So with him being gone, it puts a lot more pressure on Noe Mendez to distribute the ball and also find his own shot. And really for us to lock down on defense. It helps having Chalfant and Romero to do that for us as well. As far as who's better, they're not an easy team to play against. They had a breakthrough win last week. They have a bunch of pesky guards. Their hands are in every passing lane. Really annoying to play with or play against. The one thing they're missing is size, so that might come into play this week.
Right, and you know what? They are pesky, and I completely agree with you. The key for them is going to be to run because they're young. I mean, they're probably, what, 14, 15 years old? So they got to run. They got to run, right? So if they can get out and run against, like, Briggs, because, you know, you're not that knee.
I'm on
if we can get that
one
knee
and no ankles right
so
now.
that knee isn't going to hold up if you got those guys running around. So and Kevin Mayer, you know, he's not going to be running as much.
He's slower than Dirt.
Dirt's pretty slow, and he's pretty slow too. So that's their only chance to keep the game close. In the end, Noe dictates the tempo for you guys, which is huge, and you still have bigger bodies. Will Chalfant will clean anything up that goes in the paint, and I think he is the difference. Adding him this season is huge, especially for the North Stars defense and rebounding. So I think the North Stars, despite having Chris missing, should have an easy game relatively, and I think they win by 13 points. What do you say?
I was going to say 12. I just think Who Better is the kind of team that, even in their losses to 7 and to Fob 5, they've been close games.
Right.
So they've kind of slipped away a little bit at the end, but they've been in all those games, and I don't see this one being any different. So I would say North Stars by 12.
Yeah, watch out for those goodie screens tomorrow. The game of the week in both Bloomington South and Fridley is the Bulls North against the Turtles. Bulls North killed Fob 5 last week. Turtles have been doing their same old win by 2 points, let the team in. Tell me about that game. What do you think happens?
It is athletes and Helmy plus good old-fashioned basketball.
Right.
I'm intrigued to see how the addition of Trey Sales works out for the Turtles against a better team. It's not that Noisy's not good, but they're just not Bulls elite.
I agree.
And I'm also, I got news that Gino is not playing at all, so they are sticking with 8 guys. I'm interested when the going gets tough, what's going to happen when there are 8 guys out there who want to play, and there's only 5 guys who can be on the court. Because all those guys, Ahmed, Alex, they're both very unselfish. Jamichael's unselfish, but crunch time, they're going to want to be out there, and you need a big out there, so who's going to be left out? So I'm worried about egos in that game. And then the Turtles, can they get up for a regular season game? That's in question. I know they can do it the last 3 minutes, but the first 41, if they don't play the whole game against the Bulls, they're going to lose.
So I agree with a lot of stuff there. The one thing that you highlighted was Gino's not going to be there. And I think when the going gets tough, the biggest thing isn't who's going to be out there, it's who's going to take control of that huddle. And I don't know if Jim Michael's going to do it. You got too many personalities there that think that they know a little bit more than the other guy.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting to see. I still like the Bulls' 8 guys, and I like the fact that they bring athletes off the bench. If Lamont's starting or coming off the bench, he's an athlete. You got Rock coming off the bench starting, he's an athlete. Marcus is, of course, an athlete. Obviously, he's starting. And then Wiskus is always a tough guard. And if Jansen has to guard Marcus, and whoever's guarding Wiskus is going to have a hell of a time because the guy moves off the ball better than anybody in rec.
Probably end up being James.
Pinkett? Yeah. I would like to see that. I would like to see that matchup. The Turtles have more cohesion. So they've been playing together for a while, and I think they might get up for this game because they kind of take it easy against most teams, but I think they get up for this game. I just like the dynamic of the Bulls, and I think they got a lot of momentum riding. I like Marcus's attitude. He's playing like against the world right now, and I kind of like that. He's playing a lot better. If he can control himself and not get too far out there, especially when he gets going emotionally, I think the Bulls win, and I think they squeak it out because the Turtles let teams in, and I think the Bulls are a team that can close with the players that they have. So I'm going to say Bulls by 3.
And this might be, this is probably the second one we disagree on. I'm going to go with the 3-time defending champs, and the reason is the defense of the Bulls has not been tested yet. And you guys didn't present much of a challenge with a shell of a roster last week. They've played a couple other teams. Yeah, the Huskies actually did a pretty good job on the offensive end against them as well. They're not tested on that end, and I think with the cohesion of the Turtles roster, just some of the big play ability they have, the J-Sam, R-Sam pick and roll, that it'll be, just in the end, it'll be a little bit too much. So I would go the Turtles by 1.
All right, beautiful. So 6 games that we agree on, 2 games that we don't. We'd love to hear what you guys think. Comment down below. This is the second segment of predictions. What do you think of the video predictions personally? Because I do them. What do you think of this right now, the 2-man predictions for Fridley?
I like it because I'm in it. I couldn't watch it on my phone. That would be the one beef I have. But again, it's got to save you a lot of time. With all the time you put into power rankings and written predictions for Bloomington, I think you're out a video segment.
And you got to get a new phone because that Nokia 1500 with the snake on it can't play video, so you got to upgrade your phone.
Right. I also have a Crackberry for work that also doesn't work, so I'm kind of screwed in both hands.
Right. Well, thank you, Ultimate Hoops Nation. We'll see you next week.